And where does this? Because I could see you enthusiastic and the personal touch that you offer. Where did it all start from? When did it start? When did you get this vision that when you leave school, people say, "Oh, I'm going to be a doctor, or I'm going to be an accountant, or I'm going to go and do law at school." Where did you suddenly decide I'm going to be a jeweller? Because it is quite an unusual step forward now these days, isn't it?
Yeah.
To say that I'm going to go and do jewellery.
I always enjoyed metalwork at school, art, loved art. I suppose those were the practical lessons. So that for me, I found that a bit easier. Having dyslexia made the other lessons a little bit more of a challenge. I got on with it, but I found art and metalwork, woodwork, things like that really enjoyable. From the age of 11, I went to work with my dad. My dad actually, coincidentally, worked for a gentleman who had a factory just on the edge of the jewellery quarter down the road from here. And it was a tool making factory, great big factory that had lots of machinery.
Because that was the age back
then. Yeah, it was. Tool making was a big thing then, 30 years ago, as we've said, even longer than that, 40 years ago now. My to and from work, because I'd go every Saturday morning, and then when I got into learning how to use the presses, etc., I could earn more money by going in the school holidays. And to and from work, my dad would talk about he'd be working very hard for the bosses in the offices above. They'd get the fancy brand new cars, and we'd get the cars that they'd had for the past couple of years. They'd go to Barbados, we'd go to Barmouth, but he seemed to be doing all the work. And I learned very, very quickly from my dad moaning about that scenario, that to work for yourself was possibly the way forward. When I asked my dad why he didn't work for himself, why he didn't have a factory, he didn't want the monetary commitment. He didn't want the big machinery around him. He didn't want the pressure of the staff. He didn't want all the, all the pressure of having all that money, that he had to probably lend, etc. So I thought, that got me thinking, what can I start in business on my own to work for myself? That's quite a small concern, that you don't need that amount of outlay. I was about 15 and I was having a piece of jewellery made for a girlfriend at school, and my dad's friend happened to have a workshop of his own up here, very similar to my setup now, to be fair, and my dad couldn't go and collect it. So on my lunch break near Christmas, we broke up for Christmas holidays and I was working at the factory. I went to collect it and I walked into the room. I didn't see the diamonds and the expensive nature of the material, but I walked into the room and I looked around, and I knew this gentleman had got a couple of cars, a couple of kids, a nice house, nothing elaborate, but I knew he was having a good living. And I looked around, I saw pliers, I saw the flame that he was working with, and a small room. Got into the car that night and said, I want to be a jeweller.